got machine guns in my butt.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No. No, we're not doing that. No. I don't know why you're into this, but we're stopping it right now. You should be ashamed of yourself.
So looking back on some of my older videos, I was surprised that the Astro Boy review actually holds up okay. You know, all things considering. It's still old and has a bit of cringe here and there, like all those Donald Trump jokes. Yeah, old RaisorBlade, that definitely won't date your video at all. It's not even in full screen either.
Not to mention this gross shit is only at 480p. This chucklefuck really thought he had something going on here.
But aside from that, it's definitely one of my better older videos that I made. That video came out almost 6 whole years ago. Jesus, where has the time gone? So Astro Boy was created by Imagi Studios, a studio that wanted to try and bring anime to the realm of 3D animation. Throughout their life, they only made 2 movies, that 2007 TMNT movie and this. They were actually in the process of making a Gotcha Man movie that looked really nice, but Astro Boy failed really badly at the box office, so the studio shut down and that movie was canceled, sadly. The movie was also directed by David Bauer, who worked on a few animated films in the past, like Balto, The Prince of Egypt, and even directed Flushed Away, a movie I never saw before, but my friends told me it was kind of bad, so yeah. He would later go on to direct some of those live-action Diary of a Wimpy Kid films too, including the one everyone hated.
I'm not a student of physics or anything, but I'm familiar with the theory, what comes up must fall down.
But okay, jokes aside, I said that I wanted to come back to some of my older reviews and redo them, so I figured, why not Astro Boy? It's been a while, like a good while, and on top of all that, I've seen some other YouTubers talk about it recently, with some of them saying it's actually pretty good. So I thought to myself, maybe there's something there that I missed. Maybe it actually is an underrated gem. Maybe Astro Boy 2009 is even worse than I remember. Like seriously, what the fuck? What do you people see in this shit? Astro Boy is really bad. Like, surprisingly bad. I really was hoping that it wasn't as bad as I remember, but no, it's actually worse than I remember. It's just such an annoying movie with awful characters, boring story, babyish comedy, and a surprisingly complex political side that is just so confusing. The only redeeming factor that this movie has to offer is through the animation and some of the fight scenes. I gotta give the studio credit, when they were around, they did a good job capturing the look of whatever they were adapting. The TMNT movie and this both really look like the source material, and this was in a pre-Spider-Verse world, so this wasn't as common as it is today. The characters look really good and capture the manga style perfectly. The fight scenes are also a lot of fun. I just love watching Astro pick up this giant-ass robot and just slam him into a skyscraper. Thousands of people, Astro, all gone within the blink of an eye. And for what? Just so you can get a hit off of your enemy? Honestly, I can respect that. But with that being said, the animation isn't perfect. Sometimes you'll notice the same background character be used multiple times in certain scenes. The original character designs are kind of boring. Both Metro City and the surface just aren't that interesting to look at. If you've seen any futuristic film or apocalyptic film, then you've seen these locations before. I don't know, it's not an ugly movie, but you can tell these people were either not entirely experienced with animation yet, or just working off a low budget. But one thing you don't need a budget for is a good script, and boy, this movie does not have one. This movie has one of the most confusing stories I've ever seen. There's this weird political side that makes no sense at all. So there's this president named Stone, really creative name there, love it, who wants to go to war with the surface, thinking that will help him with his re-election. What does that even mean? Wait, you're the president of Metro City? What kind of Phantom Menace bullshit is that? A president of a city has the same energy as a queen who gets elected. That's not how that works. Also, the surface? What exactly is the surface? Is it not a country? The movie never elaborates on that. It's just the surface, and that's it. Sorry, but because this movie can't make up its mind on what the surface is, then it just makes our main villain look like a fucking idiot. Because to me, it sounds like the president of a city wants to go to war with what is vaguely the rest of the goddamn planet. This is suicide. There's literally a Family Guy episode with a plot similar to this. But hey, I get it. This is something that politicians have done in the past. It's a tried and true tactic that sadly works. I'd even accept it if the character was at least interesting, but no! He's terrible! Every word that comes out of his mouth is re-election this and go to war that. I'm not exaggerating.
I've got an election to win. Women voters are partial to the color red, you know. I'm gonna give the people of this city a reason to re-elect me.
I got an election to win.
Declare war on them, This is gonna get me reelected. I'm running for reelection in case you hadn't noted. It's bound to get me reelected.
Shut the fuck up.
There's no nuance or depth to this character. He's just a warmongering monster, but he's too damn goofy to be intimidating and too one-note to be compelling. He just does whatever he wants and gets no flack for it. Take that chase scene in the middle of the movie, for example, where he just blows up multiple buildings hoping to kill Astro and no one cares? Apparently there's talk about an opponent that's running against him, but we never actually see the talking. So at this point, why is there even an election? You're clearly a dictator who rules by force. Just tell the citizens of Metro City to suck a dick and accept that you're their leader and they have no say in the matter. You literally turn into a giant robot in the end and try to destroy the city anyway, so what's the deal? Not to mention that for a huge chunk of the film, he just completely disappears. Yeah, he declares a state of national emergency to try and focus on capturing Astro, but then he just disappears until the last half hour. It's like the movie actually forgot that he was the villain until suddenly he and his men track down Astro out of nowhere. Oh wait, it wasn't out of nowhere. It was when Astro used his powers, something he did repeatedly while he was on the surface. So what the fuck? This movie has the weirdest tonal issues. Sometimes the movie wants to be super childish with dumb baby humor and slapstick, but other times it wants to have politics and children being disintegrated? Who is this movie made for? That isn't to say you can't balance it out, but man, this movie cannot seem to pick a tone at all. It's super serious at 1 minute and then super preschoolish in another.
Yeah, see, cause he hit him.
I'm not an idiot, Charles.
And sadly, neither tone works because the childish stuff is super annoying and the serious stuff is really underdeveloped. And if you're gonna comment that this is a kid's movie, then just shut up. Just shut up. Shut the fuck up. Probably the most disappointing thing about this movie has got to be Nicolas Cage as Dr. Tenma. He just sounds so bored and uninterested with every line he has to read. Whatever emotion he's supposed to feel, it's only slightly that. He's slightly happy. He's slightly depressed. He's slightly angry. Man, for someone who has so many batshit insane roles, you could have really played into the mad scientist that Tenma was in the source material. In the original manga and anime, Tenma created Astro to replace his son who died in a car crash. Which is a fucked up thing to do, but you understand why. And yet the story is aware of how fucked up that is and decided to make Tenma a selfish person. Hell, in the 2003 version, he's a full-blown antagonist. Why not do that? Get rid of the stupid president and his dumb, illogical politics and just have Tenma be the villain. That would be way more interesting. I want to see that movie. But no, we can't have Astro go against his daddy despite him literally throwing him away like junk. And on top of that, it is so forced. They remain separated for a majority of the film, and Dr. Tenma also disappears like Stone does, so his sudden change of heart at the end makes no sense. It's so stupid. I'm starting to see why Japanese audiences weren't too fond of this movie. It really feels like an American way to tell this story, despite logically making zero sense for Tenma to accept Astro as a son, or Astro forgiving Tenma that easily. The writers really played it safe with this script. Instead of having Tenma be this three-dimensional and really fun mad scientist, just have this dumb, idiotic president guy who just show up and want to go to war for whatever reason he can find. In fact, let's dumb this shit down so hard that the catalyst of this film are two energy cores called the blue positive core and the red negative core. This movie has never even heard of the word subtle before, has it? Oh, but what am I talking about? This is a dumb baby movie, like I'm sure some of you have commented already, as if that's a defense for this movie being dog shit. I mean, it's not like the original manga talked about mature themes like prejudice and equality or anything.
That's right, Astro's a robot. You know the robots can go to school now.
Hey, I don't want to study with no robot.
Yeah.
I don't like this whole idea robots come in our school. None of us do. Schools are for humans. So go away. Get out.
We humans were the ones who made the robots. Obviously, they are inferior and shouldn't be allowed to vote. They're not human and shouldn't have human rights.
What? This is an outrage, you hysterical old battle axe!
The side characters are boring. I really hate these annoying commie robots. Like, what's even the point of them? They don't do anything useful in this movie other than give Astro his name. What a waste of animation and perfectly good communism.
We've got a feather, and we're not afraid to use it.
Hammond becoming a villain out of nowhere feels super forced too. Nothing about his character beforehand hints at him hating robots. Now, some of you might go, well, clearly he was lying about liking robots. Why? Why would he lie about that? He doesn't even know Astro yet or know that he's a robot, so why lie to him about that? It just feels like the movie really wanted to have a twist villain without putting any of the work in required to make that work.
The laws of robotics. You can't hurt a human. It's been that way for 50 years.
Kiss my ass, brotherfucker.
Oh, and speaking of Astro, he sucks too. He sucks so hard. He's such a goody two-shoes to the point where it's annoying. Can you name a single aspect to his character other than he's a nice guy? Because I can't. And don't bring up Toby in the beginning of the movie. He's a completely different person. Astro is practically a Mary Sue. He has no relatable flaws and no character arc. What does Astro learn by the end of this movie? How does he grow as a character? All of his struggles come off as very one note, especially when we don't really get to see how they affect him. As soon as he's kicked out by Tenma, we jump straight back into the action. As soon as the dumb liar reveal crap happens, we gotta jump back into the action. The movie cannot stop to let Astro process the things that are happening to him, so he just comes across like he's on autopilot, saying the most basic, generic stuff that you can respond to with it. It's boring. Astro is a boring fucking character, and like I said all those years ago, when you're making a superhero movie and your hero is the most boring character in the world, then why should the audience give a shit about anything? Why should kids latch themselves onto Astro the same way they would with Batman or Spider-Man? Because there's just nothing there, which sucks because from what I saw in some of the anime, there is a character there. There is potential for an Astro Boy movie to be good. They nailed the look, but everything else is just so tedious. But hey, what do you expect from the guy who would go on to bring us Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4 the long haul? I regret coming back to this movie. I was really hoping that maybe there was something there that I missed, but no, it's still bad. As a matter of fact, it's even worse than I remember. No wonder this movie bombed the way it did. It just didn't appeal to anybody. The political stuff is gonna bore kids, the kiddie crap is gonna annoy adults, and fans of the manga and anime are just gonna feel ignored. Now, I'm not super familiar with the manga and anime, so I'm not gonna call this a complete bastardization, especially when I know what a complete bastardization looks like. But with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. You want my advice? Just go look up the anime on YouTube or something. You'll probably find it there. Or just go watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish again. I don't see why not.